That's the way to do it. In and out one day.
Carlos Mendez. Welcome into a Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from the Lee Company studio. I'm Chris Yao, joined by Maurice Patton, and glad to have you guys with us, as always, here on the show. Man, we've got a good one today. Seriously, it is jam-packed with a lot of fun. As you saw on the title card there, we're going to have Drew Hill talking Memphis Grizzlies with us, who finally got their first win. They took an overtime loss on Friday, but then a 24-1 run yesterday to get the dub to close that one out in Portland. So
after dropping 7 straight to open,
yeah, it was a tough opening.
That's...
So we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like and what's going on with the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll also talk with Caleb JARREAU, who had a chance to see the U.S. women's national team at Food City Center over the weekend.
Hey, they paid for the naming rights, but they didn't pay us. It's Thompson Bowling Green. Sorry.
Yeah,
and if they want us to call it Food City Center, then
they got to pay you.
They got to stroke a check to Main Street Media of Tennessee.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, he got a chance to see them, and we'll talk a little bit about what he saw from Tennessee and what Kelly Harper's group is looking like as they get ready to start, because it is opening night or opening day of college basketball. We've already had 2 local teams in women's finish up, so there's that.
And when is that South Carolina Notre Dame game in Paris? It's now.
It is currently 95-65 South Carolina in the fourth quarter. That's 10th ranked Notre Dame losing by 30.
It's a 6th ranked South Carolina.
Yeah.
6th ranked.
6th ranked South Carolina, 10th ranked Notre Dame.
And it's a 35-point
And it's
game.
30. No, it's a 31-point game.
Oh, my bad.
They just hit a free throw to make it 31. So yeah, it's a rough day for North Carolina. There's no question. USC is drubbing Ohio State, by the way, as well, in women's basketball. 48-28 right now in the third at halftime. So, yeah, man, what a day for women's basketball. Opening day. It's been a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about obviously all the things that happened over the weekend in the world of sports. So get ready and get set. We're going to get going here in just a second. Let's go ahead and do that. We've got yesterday's results. We've got today's, or not yesterday, but the weekend results and today's schedule. So let's give you the rundown.
This is the rundown.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian Academy, prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
Football action over the weekend in high schools. Playoff action. Summit 38, Antioch 29, Beach a 42-8 win over Memphis Overton. Boyd Buchanan into Good Pastures Year 49-20. It was Brentwood 28, Cane Ridge 7. Brentwood Academy a 43-14 winner over Briarcrest Christian. Centennial with a 12-point win over Columbia Central 27-15.
In comeback fashion.
In me nailing the spread fashion. Collierville 23, Clarksville 22 in what was one of the most exciting finishes in high school football over the weekend. Cookville 35, Siegel 34, CPA 42-6 over CAK. Davidson Academy 49-27 over Chattanooga Christian, Donaldson Christian 65, Mount Juliet Christian 14. It was Decatur County Riverside just manhandling Mount Pleasant, unfortunately 50-6 the final there. East Nashville 40-0 winners over Cheatham County. East Robertson Blanks Cascade 42-0. It was FACS 56. Grace Christian of Franklin 42. Fairview down to Maplewood 36-30 in comeback fashion. Franklin Road Academy 35-6 over Silverdale. Friendship Christian 42. Fayette Academy 14. Germantown 47-0 over West Creek. Giles County Blanks Brainerd 34-0. Hardin County a 29-22 winner over White House. Houston 47, Dixon County nothing. Jackson Christian a 37-7 winner of Eagle Fighting. Knoxville Catholic 37, Father Ryan 14, Lausanne 41, BGA 13, Liberty Creek Blank Sycamore 42-0. Peabody comes to Loretto and wins the Mustangs with 28-24. Marion County a 21-7 winner over Westmoreland and winning 6-32. Watertown, I'm sorry, wins 35. Watertown 32.
Also, Mount Juliet, after losing back-to-back to close the regular season, defeated Rockville 29-19. Hendersonville with a 41-34 win over Munford. North Point Christian of Mississippi 49. Pope Prep 24. Oakland with a 38-3 win over Gallatin. It was Page 50. Franklin County 13. Was it? Yeah. Polcone 42. Lexington 2. Nashville Christian with a 47-14 win over Providence Christian. Ravenwood doubled up Stewart's Creek 28-14. No, it was 50-14 Page over Franklin County because it was Riverdale 50, Green Hill 13. There we go.
Gotcha.
Bartlett with a 48-16 win over Rossview. Shelbyville down Hillsborough 41-7. Smyrna with a 26-14 win over Independence. Station Camp Edge South Gibson 24-20. Tough night for Scott Stidham, current and former team. South Pittsburgh 63, Joe Burns nothing. Southwind with a 62-0 win over Springfield. Tullahoma 10, Nolensville nothing. Eagleville 37, West Carroll 6, and Stratford 58, White House Heritage 42. On the ice, the Preds with a 5-2 win at Edmonton. And in the association, the Grizzlies fell 115-113 in overtime to Portland, then defeated Portland 112-100.
I wonder if one of those games was the in-season tournament. I think it was. I don't know that, but I think it was.
Has the in-season tournament started?
I saw a bunch of the courts popping up on Twitter over the weekend, so I think it may have. College football. Tennessee drubs UConn after the Huskies asked for it. 59-3. They did go.
They really did. They really did.
South Carolina pick six late to seal it over Jacksonville State and win the Gamecock Cup 38-28. It was New Mexico State holding off MTSU 13-7. Tough night for the Blue Raiders. Charleston Southern down to Tennessee State 35-21. Austin Peay in overtime, a 33-30 winner over Eastern Kentucky. We're winning in that game 20-7 in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So there you go. Lindsey Wilson downs Cumberland 45-2. That's two games that have two was the final score. Men's basketball of the weekend. UT Southern downs Oakwood 91-54 and Cumberland 90-74. Cumberland bounces back to beat Point 67-64. Trevecca downs Rhodes 103-63. Women's basketball action over the weekend. Brescia 54, Cumberland 46. Cumberland bounces back with a 72-53 win over Taylor. Campbellsville downs Fisk 96-61. Trevecca a 78-59 winner over Fisk. The women's national team defeated Tennessee 95-59. And this morning, Missouri, in comeback fashion, goes on a 14-1 run and then holds off Belmont late 62-51 due to the Lady Tigers. Vanderbilt takes easy care of Kennesaw State 98-51.
Today's schedule in men's basketball, it's Tennessee Tech at Tennessee. That's a 5:30 tip here. 6:30 in Knoxville on SEC Network Plus. On ESPN Plus at 6:30, Georgia State is at Belmont. Also at 6:30 on ESPN Plus, Lipscomb is at Wichita State. Austin Peay plays Life at 7:15 on ESPN Plus, and at 7:30 on ESPN Plus, you can see Fisk at Tennessee State, and you can see Northern Kentucky in the Glass House against MTSU. In women's basketball, Chris just mentioned that Belmont, Missouri game at 5 o'clock on ESPN Plus. It's Wilberforce at Tennessee State. At 5 o'clock also on ESPN Plus, Memphis is at Middle Tennessee State. Trevecca is at Austin Peay at 5:30 on ESPN Plus, and also at 5:30 on ESPN Plus. UT Southern is at North Alabama. That is your rundown.
Brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill Shopping Center in Columbia. Fine folks over there have great, delicious lunch specials, also hand-cut meats, fresh daily, great produce, and it's all just cost plus 10 at the register. Again, that's Neely's Mill, Piggly Wiggly right here in Columbia. Our top story today, Mo, is that Zakai Ziegler will make his return to the floor at Thompson Bowling Arena tonight, just 8 months after suffering an ACL tear, and that is impressive.
It's impressive, and it's welcome news, I would imagine, because every discussion, certainly that we've had regarding Tennessee basketball for the 23-24 season, there was no discussion without the question, who's going to play point guard until Zakai gets back? Well, doesn't matter because Zakai is back. Now, I guess the next question is he going to play 40 minutes every night?
I don't think he's going to have to. I think Tennessee found some guys who can step into that role for spurts. And I feel like, Rick Barnes feels comfortable with some other guys, again, playing, backup by committee. There are 2 or 3 guys that I think can play that role. And even, Santee and, a couple other guys could also step in if necessary to handle the basketball. I don't think you're going to get the level of, play from any of those guys that you get from Zakai Ziegler, and that's why he's your starter, and that's why he's so important to this basketball team. But yeah, I feel like, he's not going to play 40 minutes. He can't play 40 minutes. One, he probably hasn't conditioned enough to play 40 minutes.
Well, I don't know that he would necessarily need to play 40 minutes tonight.
No.
Particularly.
Well, it may be the time to do it, though. It may be to conditioning and whatnot. Play as much as you possibly can to get your conditioning back up to a level that, you can, once conference play starts, you can play 33, 35 minutes a game and just take your, that extra minute before halftime or that extra minute before media breaks or whatever to get those 2-minute breathers. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Certainly.
I'm excited, though. I mean, obviously this was a pretty easy win last year for Tennessee, but Tennessee Tech always brings a little bit of juice to this, because who doesn't want to beat the flagship school in your state, right?
Oh, definitely.
And so
I mean, they're definitely motivated going in there.
they're motivated, which means you have to be, at the top of your game in order to not let it get away from you at some point. So, this is a game that Tennessee is going to, is certainly going to be tested, especially early. Obviously, in games like this, depth plays such a huge factor. So, I'm excited to see Zakai Ziegler back on the court. It's going to be fun. Santiago Vescovi has been named Naismith Award watch winner, or a watch list. So that's also really good. Second top story today, Mo. We talked a little bit about it last week, about the way that managers were about to start finding homes.
Mm-hmm.
And today, obviously, with being the last day, the deadline of options, for players, I didn't know if today would be the day, but apparently it is, because the Cleveland Guardians have hired Stephen Vogt, Braves legend. That's right. And the New York Metropolitans went across town and took the subway back with their new manager, Carlos Mendez, the bench coach of the New York Yankees for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, give or take. He spent 15 years with the Yankees in multiple roles and spent the last 4 as their bench coach. 15 years with the Yankees, and said, I guess if I'm going to get a job managing, I'm going to have to go across town. So here he comes. How about that? That is a move.
It is a move. It is a move. I don't know what it says, but it's a move. Good luck selling that to the Mets fan base. I mean, a guy who's never managed before coming out of the Yankees dugout to take over the Metropolitans.
There are some people I would love to hear today. Frank is one of them.
It's some straight gas coming out of there, man.
What was the radio host's name that declared that?
Sal Licata?
Yeah. I would like to hear Sal and Frank right now. Can we get that?
Goodness.
Because I mean, they
got
are
to be imploding.
Angry. Let's see what Frank has to say on Twitter, if anything. It doesn't look like Carlos Mendoza is a loser. Mets will lose 130 a year. That's exactly what I was looking for. So there you go.
See what Sal is saying.
Sal?
Well, there's some video reaction, but
yeah, don't have anything.
Yeah, and I'm not going to listen to that.
No, gosh knows. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's legal because they said it on WFAN, but yeah, Mets fans not happy.
I can't imagine.
Here's the weird thing, though. What if I told you that Craig Counsell has a job and it's in Chicago and it's with the Chicago Cubs?
I will tell you what I told you. I didn't realize the Cubs had an opening.
Thought they had a manager.
I did think they had a manager.
Well, basically what we were getting from Jeff Passan and all those guys just before it was announced, but also right after the Mets announced Mendoza, they basically said he was going to a place that currently had a manager or had an existing manager. And I thought, well, that's odd, but okay. Well, they were right. The Cubs fired David Ross and then hired Craig Counsell immediately. The contract is a 5-year, $40 million contract, which is the highest salary for any Major League Baseball manager ever. Today, we made the difficult decision to dismiss David Ross as our Major League manager, President of Baseball Operations Jed Hoyer said in a statement. On behalf of the Cubs organization, we express our deep gratitude for David's contributions to our club, both on and off the field. First as a player, then as a manager, David continually showcased his ability to lead. David's legacy will be felt in Chicago for generations, and his impact to our organization will stack up with the legends that came before him. My question is, Craig Counsell will be the highest paid manager in the history of Major League Baseball, and he's done nothing more than David Ross has ever done.
Beyond that, Ross was under contract for next year, and the Cubs had an option for 2025. And I wonder what his buyout was on top of everything else, on top of the $40 million they're going to pay.
Well, are those contracts guaranteed?
That I don't know.
I think they are. Now, you could probably negotiate a smaller buyout, but because NFL contracts, coaching contracts are guaranteed. So, like right now, the Raiders are paying Gruden, McDaniels, and somebody new.
Oh, it's the Raiders.
So, I mean, I think it's the same in Major League Baseball. So this is getting interesting. In 9 years with the Brewers, Counsell won 3 Central titles, went to the postseason 5 of the last 6 years, including obviously winning the division this year.
Did he ever advance?
The Brewers, I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that, I mean, I
don't think they were ever in an NLCS.
I don't think so either. The Brewers have had some talented teams and have done almost nothing with them. Wild card, DS, wild card, NLCS
in 18.
That's it. And lost in 7 to
The Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, man.
That's an interesting hire. I don't know what makes Craig Counsell a better manager for the Chicago Cubs than David Ross. And I don't know why Craig Counsell takes that job over either staying in Milwaukee or taking the Mets.
Well, $40 million.
Well,
perhaps that's what he was asking for, and the Cubs were the only ones willing to pay it.
Meanwhile, Stephen Vogt to Cleveland
is a great pick.
Based on what?
Man, this guy, he has been one of the most heralded guys in dugouts. He's got player experience. He's basically David Ross, but they're getting him.
You see what happened to him?
Well, but they're getting him at a good price. He's the kind of guy that can take over after a Terry Francona, and guys are going to like playing for. I mean, could you have hired a Buck Showalter? Sure.
There's got to be something between Buck Showalter and Stephen Vogt.
Everybody wanted him. So why? Why did everyone want Stephen Vogt?
I don't know. That's wild to me. So you're talking about the Astros, the Angels, and who else remaining?
Padres.
Padres. Something got kicked up on Twitter last night regarding the Padres' financial situation, and things may be so dire that they wind up having to trade either Fernando Tatis or Juan Soto.
That getting out was the worst possible thing to happen for the Padres.
Well, especially while they're trying to hire a manager.
Well, you're trying to hire a manager, and
if people know that you have to make a trade, yeah.
Alex Anthopoulos is fixing to fleece the Padres.
You know, somebody said Juan Soto to the Braves, and I said, "Don't threaten me with a good time."
No.
Soto, Harris, Acuna.
We need a left fielder.
Oh, it fits.
I'm in. Let's go.
Let's go.
Y'all want some?
The question is, what do you got to give up? What do the Braves have to give up?
Not as much
Juan
as they would
Soto?
have to. 3 days ago.
We could give you more, but you can't pay them.
Would have gave you more, but we know you're desperate.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. Hey,
Here's your deal.
take it or go bankrupt.
Your choice. The choice is yours, and yours alone. So.
Wow.
I wonder how much that has to do with their Valley deal or their regional sports network. Remember
Or
that?
their lack of
Or
Valley deal.
lack of the Valley deal.
Ooh,
So, clearly, that's a problem. Anyway,
that's craziness.
yes, it is.
Meanwhile, Ryan Weathers is smiling.
He's like, yeah.
Hey, my check cleared. My check from the Marlins cleared. So,
Absolutely. Let's take a break. Caleb JARREAU is standing by. We need to get to him and talk a little Lady Vols. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well-rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back back in Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton here on this Monday. A look back, but also a look ahead in this next segment, Mo, as we talk to the Daily Beacon sports editor out in Knoxville, Caleb JARREAU, joining us here. And Caleb, what's up, my friend?
Nothing much. Ready to get this busy time of the year started. How are y'all?
Well, I'm glad you're ready because I'm not. Hey, did I see you cover some high school football Friday night on top of it?
Oh, yeah. I'm covering just about everything out here in Knoxville. Doing some high school football for five-star preps out here in East Tennessee. So been driving around, got to watch Central and Halls last week. And then this past Friday watched Sevier County in Central season. So staying busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Keeps you out of trouble. The U.S. women's national team last night came into the basketball facility at the University of Tennessee and handled the Lady Vols pretty well. Of course, it is the U.S. national team. What was Kelly's reaction to the way things went last night?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was surprised that the U.S. national team handled Tennessee that easily. They hung with them, though, for the first quarter-ish, which I thought was very surprising because I thought, like, the U.S. national team, just because they are the best of the best players, would be up, 20, 30 pretty early on the Lady Vols. But something that stood out to me the most really was Rakia Jackson dropped 15 points on 50% shooting against the national team. So
let's go.
It was, for her, it really was. She's somebody who wants to play in the WNBA. Everybody kind of knows that. For her, I would say it was basically like a professional tryout, and I would say she passed with that performance. So that's probably the biggest takeaway. Another thing, really, and something that Kelly Harper and Rakia Jackson both kind of pointed out, they out-rebounded the national team by 1, which is very surprising considering how poor they rebounded early last season and how worried Kelly Harper was about rebounding coming into this year. So that's probably your 2 biggest takeaways. Other than that, I don't think anything was surprising that a massive U.S. national team was able to just shoot the lights out of the Summit on the Summit court in Thompson Bowling Arena at Food City Center.
Thank you for getting all that. Thank you. He had to take a break, take a drink of water after saying all of that because it's helpful.
Repeat that for me because we're going to cut it out and just play it whenever we have to discuss the building.
It would be so on the Summit in Thompson Bowling Arena at Food City Center.
That's correct.
All right, cool.
You got to hit all the buzzwords.
Yeah, you mentioned it being a tryout, a WNBA tryout for Rakia Jackson, and she certainly got the stamp of approval of Cheryl Reeve.
Yeah, Cheryl Reeve said she told her after the game that they'd be seeing her soon in the WNBA, and it's kind of surprising that you don't see Rakia in a lot of these WNBA draft projections right now near the top. Or for me, I feel like she'd be in the top 5 just watching her play. Yeah, and the U.S. national team head coach Cheryl Reeve, who coaches the Lynx for the WNBA, said the same thing. Just like block out the noise, don't worry about that because no matter where she's drafted, her skill set translates. And I mean, she led all scorers on Sunday night with 15. And I mean, she shot 50%, and most of her misses came in the third quarter when they just couldn't get any bucket to fall. So just all in all, I would say, like you said, she passed the tryout, and I feel like she'll have a lot of success at the next level when she's done with this season.
Yeah. And that's what's exciting for this particular Tennessee team is, they've got some players, they've got some girls and some, who can make the, I guess, who can take them to that next level, the next step in what should be a really exciting year.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. The defense still is concerning with this team. You have scorers. Rakia Jackson can score. You pick up Jewel Spear and Destiny Wells out of the transfer portal, both point guards who are proven scorers at Belmont and Wake Forest. And you bring those players in, yet you give up over 70 points to Carson Newman. And some of the defensive plays, while, they're testing out lineups and stuff, so you got to give it the benefit of the doubt a little bit. But the Carson Newman players at times were just able to run around Tennessee and get open looks. So that sort of stuff can't happen. Something that Kelly Harper pointed out last night as well is the U.S. national team shot almost 50% from three, but the problem was a lot of those were open looks. It wasn't like Diana Taurasi was hitting contested shots. I think she had 3 open looks from beyond the arc. So it's things like that. The defense will come back to bite them, and they just have to rebound consistently. But I don't think there's any reason to doubt this team's scoring ability right now.
As you see South Carolina drubbing Notre Dame.
Is that one over yet?
Scoring 100 points. I don't know if it actually ended up being 100, but it was pretty darn close. If not, they're going to need to play some defense if they're going to be successful in the SEC, because this is, they're not even the best team in the SEC anymore. You've got LSU too. So how does this team feel like it stacks up in what I think is the best women's basketball conference in the country?
Yeah, like you said, South Carolina, I was watching that game earlier. They're scary. And there were questions about if they could be able to reload after last year, and clearly they have. LSU is another team, like you said. You bring in Haley Van Lith. You still have Angel Reese. They have such a good room of point guards in Baton Rouge. Those two teams are going to be really hard to beat, and it starts with defense. I think if Tamari Key can get back fully healthy and you get used to trying certain lineups out or having certain players on the court together that can just defend, you don't have the size you had last year with Jordan Horston where she could just lock down whoever had the ball. But you can at least find somebody, and they don't have to play that good of that defense. I mean, seriously, this team can score at will, it seems like. So you just have to slow them down enough. But, man, I don't know if anybody can beat South Carolina and LSU, and I am looking forward to when those teams match up. I think they match up in the regular season this year. They should at least. But even other teams in the SEC, Ole Miss is not bad this year. Yolanda down in Oxford is doing a good job. Florida is kind of a mix of young and veteran talent. They'll be a problem in the SEC. The conference is really deep, and the Lady Vols need to rebound and defend, which sounds like fundamental basketball and something we hear Rick Barnes say every day. But the scoring is not an issue for this team right now. It's just going to be about holding other teams under 60 or 70.
Don't you feel like Jillian Hollingshead?
Hollingshead, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Is going to be a factor, be more of a factor on this team maybe than she has been previously for UT?
I would feel like it. You still look for some of the intangibles, just like strength and speed, to kind of increase this year. But when I was talking to her at media day, she talked about how last year she was never fully healthy, because as soon as she came out of the transfer portal to Tennessee, she was still recovering from that knee injury she suffered at Georgia. So now this year she's finally healthy. And she said the coaches are kind of trusting her more, so she's able to bring the ball up the court if she gets a rebound, and then they can just go straight into the offense with her kind of running point almost. And she has those guard skills at such a big size that you should see that translate. She was another player last night. She was second in scoring with 8 points. The only thing is she was 3 for 10, which when you're going up against Brittany Griner, you don't expect to shoot well. But she had one shot just completely blocked by Griner on a fadeaway in the post. So I'm with you, though, Mo. I think she should take a step forward, and you can do a lot of interesting things with her. If you have her at the 5, you can empty the paint and spread the floor and let a point guard like Destiny Wells or Jewel Spear drive. If you have her at the 4, now she can also still pop out and do a lot of interesting things. So she's just another tool they can use in this offense, as long as she does take that step forward from her production last year.
Caleb JARREAU joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And, Caleb, on the other side, a lot of folks think that Tennessee's men's team has a chance at the Final Four. I don't know how much you've gotten to see it or be around them, but this feels like a really special basketball team shaping up for Rick Barnes.
Yeah, I think you see Rick Barnes kind of accepting that the offense needs to go in a different direction with this team. You have Dalton Connect, who can stretch the floor, probably at the 3 or 4. You pick up Jordan Gainey out of the transfer portal, which, coming from USC Upstate, I didn't think he was going to make that big of an impact. But against Michigan State, he looked amazing. You still have those scoring droughts, which you saw against Michigan State. But I think once you get Zakai Ziegler back fully healthy, which he's going to play some minutes tonight, you got Josiah Jordan-James back. I mean, realistically, this team should be able to score a lot more than last year, and your defense should stay the same, just looking at the players you have on the floor. There's just a couple of questions. Like I said, Jordan Gainey, coming from USC Upstate, his play translated well at Michigan State. Dalton Connect, when you get into the SEC, can a Colorado basketball guy who's kind of an undersized 4, can he survive in the paint going against some of those SEC bigs? So you have questions like that, but I think that this should be the year they break the ceiling. The offense actually seems like it has some life in practices so far in the offseason. Every practice we've gotten to watch, Rick Barnes has been on fire, just lighting up Tobey, lighting up Jordan Gainey. More emotion than I've ever seen him coach with from watching practice. So I feel like this team should take a step forward this year for sure.
How big do you think it is, Caleb, to get Zakai back this quickly, this early?
I think just because of his personality and kind of that energy and spark that he brings to the team, because you have capable point guards with Jemai Mashak and Jordan Gainey, but having a guy like Zakai back can keep Jemai every once in a while tends to play too fast. I mean, you saw it even against Lenore Ryan, where on a couple of times he was bringing the ball up the court and he just got too fast and ahead of himself and turned it over to a Division II team. So having somebody like Zakai out there who can maybe not have, so you don't have to have Jemai carry or bring the ball up the court as much, or you have Zakai who can talk to Jemai on the court and just kind of be in the huddle and back to the flow or the normalcy that this team has. Because if you fill that point guard spot, I mean, you have so many capable bigs from freshman all the way to fifth-year senior Josiah Jordan-James that can fill spots 3 through 5, that as long as you have somebody who can run the offense and get them the ball and kind of lead on the court, then you should be all right. And I had a story come out today where I talked to Zakai, and he just talked about how his mentality and the way he watches the game of basketball has changed so much since his injury, because he spent the whole end of last season and the summer tour on the bench. So he was talking with the coaches the whole time. Greg Polinsky was somebody he bounced a lot of ideas off of. During the exhibition game, he sat next to Rick Barnes because Rick wanted to hear what he was saying. And Rick shared a story during that game that Jemai was passing up passes to guys on the set that he was supposed to make. And when he came in the huddle, Jemai said he thought they were covered, but then from the sidelines, Zakai and Rick both said that they were open. You just have to throw the ball. And I think just having that extra mental maturity, I guess, and Greg Polinsky said Zakai is looking at the game now like chess and not checkers. He understands what is happening more. He understands why they're calling the plays. So realistically, I think once he gets on the court, his play should be even better than last year. It's just a matter of, does he keep that same twitchiness and speed? But mentally, he should be a lot sharper and help lead this offense.
Well, sometimes being mentally sharper can certainly elevate your physical ability. So even if he doesn't have all of the physical ability, the increase in mental strength, I think will make him a force. And that's what you get when you have a guy who's played at the position for 3 years. You know, a guy who started as a freshman late his freshman year. I think that makes a big difference. So I'm excited to see what Zakai has to offer and what this entire team has to offer. I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to talking with you again, Caleb, here soon. Hopefully are you going to come up?
Oh, no, indeed. I'm not.
Thank God.
I did not want to make that trip. We're going to budget some of that money and head over to Chapel Hill for basketball here soon. So
probably a good call.
But probably be a lot more fun, and I'll be nice and warm in my house while Tennessee is in the 50 degrees, and God knows how bad the wind chill will be.
Exactly. So that was
good call.
That was a good call. Well,
absolutely.
Enjoy watching it from the comfort of your home. We will talk to you again soon, man.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will hand out our Monstars as well as talk a little bit about some SEC stuff. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
To one person. Mo Patton in the Lee Company studio here. Time for on Stars of the Week. And we will start now. Mo, I'll let you go first, and so I don't steal anyone.
I don't think we have to worry about that. Columbia Central lost up at Centennial 27-15. The point spread prescribed by Chris Yao, apparently.
11.5 is what I said.
Okay. For entertainment purposes only,
It
right?
was.
Okay. All right. But Caden McCoy scored on a 72-yard reception and a 97-yard kickoff return, giving Central the lead with each of those scores in that loss. He couldn't get much going on the ground because they were keying on him. But he was clutch when he had the opportunity. And for that, the senior is one of my Monstars.
All right. I'm going to go to East Robertson. Isaiah Groves, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. But wait, there's more.
But he did it on 10 carries.
177 on 10.
And twice to the crib. So, yeah.
That's a nice little 17.7 yards per carry.
If you can get
you can get a first down every time you touch it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna
score one out of every 5
That's
touches.
insane.
Yes.
That is insane.
That'll work.
That's
Jeez.
efficient.
Efficient indeed. Justin?
So I actually have a high school player this week in mind. I was doing David Wilson's show. He was Robertson County sports reporter, and he was talking about a freshman quarterback, Xavier Murray. Let me see which school he is from.
White House Heritage.
White House. Yep, White House Heritage for 19 for 29, 266 yards, 4 touchdowns, and hung with the team they're playing. Can't remember who it was, but they were
Stratford.
Right.
Stratford. Yeah.
And just to be a freshman and put up that performance, gutsy, to say the least.
Well, it helps that he's the son of the coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, but yeah,
Nice.
266 and a pair of touchdowns in a 58-42 loss.
Did he have 4 touchdowns?
Yeah,
What
4
is this?
touchdowns, 1 interception at
sorry.
the very end.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that'll help you.
That's solid.
Give you a chance anyway.
That's a solid close to a solid freshman year. So yeah, okay.
Mo, number 2.
Number 2, Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis, 22 of 35 for 359 yards, had 4 total touchdowns in Florida State's win at Pitt. He's slowly kind of putting himself on the fringe of that Heisman chase, I do believe.
I think he is pretty solid in the top 10. I feel like he's pretty solid in the top 10. Now, we'll talk about that later. I'm going to go with Jacob Zeno of UAB, coming off of injury, going 29 of 35 for 484 and 5 touchdowns against Florida Atlantic.
That's solid.
Nearly 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and they needed every one of them too, because they were up big at halftime, struggled in the
Against
second
Florida
half.
Atlantic?
Florida Atlantic's not bad. They're not great, but they struggled in the second half, came back in the fourth quarter and got the game-winning touchdown. So Jacob Zeno, UAB quarterback. Justin?
I'm sure this might have been one of y'all's, but CJ Stroud coming in, killing it. 5 touchdowns, was it, I think? Let's see what the
I don't know how many touchdowns, but 470 yards.
It was 42.8 points on my bench is what it was.
Oh. This is the part that,
42.8 points on my bench, and I got
the part that blew my mind.
Is trash.
Yeah,
Because
I had 2.
Patrick is trash.
He is a terrible fantasy quarterback. But you got to remember that, like, Tony Romo was like the highest scoring fantasy quarterback for like 5 years in a row. So fantasy versus real life is a different world. But Patrick Mahomes is not a good fantasy quarterback.
The thing that was crazy about this for me, also aside from the obvious stats, was his completion percentage was 71.4%.
Yeah, 30 of 42.
That's
for
insane.
475 touchdowns.
Talk about efficient.
It's a good day. It's a great day even. Too bad he did it sitting on my bench. Anyway. Mo, number 3.
Staying in this Houston Tampa Bay game, running back / special teams ace JARREAU Ogunbowale.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy. Well, that guy broke a 30-30 tie with 8 minutes and some change left in the game when he kicked a 29-yard field goal. Now, he's not the kicker.
That's right. He is not the kicker.
He is not the kicker. Kami Fairbairn had a quad injury, couldn't kick. Ogunbowale, there we go, was the first player in the NFL not listed as a kicker or a punter to hit a field goal in 19 years. And basically it was the difference in a 39-37 Texans win.
Did they not have a kicker? Like, what happened to their kicker?
He injured his quad during the game, and nobody has a second kicker on the roster. So I guess he did it in the first half because Ogunbowale handled all the kickoffs in the second half. Now, apparently he had played soccer, basketball, and track in addition to football in high school in Wisconsin. So it wasn't new to him. It was just new to D'Amico Ryans and that bunch.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. 29-yarder.
He'll take that.
Yeah, especially on a win.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Washington. Dylan Johnson, 26 carries, 256 yards. That's 9.8 yards a carry, by the way. 4 touchdowns in a 52-42 win over USC and made Caleb Williams cry.
They did make Caleb Williams cry. It also made Lincoln Riley make a staff change.
Rethink some things. That's right. All right, Justin, finally.
I got to go with our Knoxville spaceman, Mr. Joshua Dobbs himself, leading the Minnesota Vikings on his first, going over the cadence of his snap count with the O-line on the sidelines before the game to driving down.
No, not before the game.
No, it was
during the game after
After
dude got hurt. I don't know who.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because they had no intention of him playing.
Oops.
I mean,
exactly.
Good thing he did.
First guy since 1921 to score a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown for 2 different teams in the same season. So,
poor Falcons. They don't have film on any quarterback they play against.
That's true.
Clearly.
All right, that's their Monstars. Real quick, couple of things out of SEC play. Number 1, Jimbo Fisher and Billy Napier. Who makes it the longest?
No, see, there's a couple of different ways you got to look at that.
Exactly.
1 is who gets it straightened out the quickest.
Okay.
2 is whose contract is more prohibitive for firing. So I think Jimbo has more security. I also think Jimbo is probably more likely to get it right.
Well, he's got the talent.
Mm-hmm.
If Billy Napier were coaching Texas A&M, would they be better?
Ooh, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I mean, because clearly the quarterback situation is a mess.
At both places.
Yeah.
I think Texas A&M has a quarterback of the future.
Not sure who's going to coach.
So, I mean, I think there's I don't know who makes it. I don't know if either one of them make it past the end of the year. I don't know.
That would be 2 years for Napier and 3 for Jimbo, right?
No, Jimbo is 69 games in.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, and he has and Kevin Sumlin has a 3-game lead on him over 69 games.
Ew, that's not a good look.
It's not a good look for them.
And at some point, somebody's going to realize that.
Again,
if it
Kevin
matters,
Sumlin wasn't a bad football coach. The expectation for Kevin Sumlin were not
at Texas A&M.
Were not
realistic?
Nearly as high. I don't think they were as high as Jimbo. They didn't have Kevin Sumlin a national championship ring that said whatever year, 2000 blank, and yet
and Kevin
he
Sumlin
exceeded expectations while Jimbo is
grossly under. Yeah.
So,
but you got to write Jimbo a check,
$70 million plus. But when you're talking about oil money,
when you want me gone and what door you want me to go out.
Exactly. We'll talk about him later too. I don't know who makes it the longest. Anyway, both of their seats are on fire. Absolutely on fire. Did Jalen Milroe play his way into the Heisman conversation?
No.
Why not?
Because you kind of feel like it's probably Michael Penix's to lose at this point.
Most everybody else has Jaden Daniels at the top of the list. Now, I don't know if he knows where he is today. Or any list for that. I don't think Jalen Milroe played his way. Now, I will say this. I think Jalen Milroe, when he realized that being a pocket passer was going to end his career and made a conscious decision to learn how to run the read option, became an exponentially better quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think Alabama's going to end up in the college football playoff now. And I never would have thought that pre-USF. But LSU's defense is horrid, atrocious. pitiful. One of the worst in the country. So anything anybody does against them, I'm putting on an island where the Tennessee-Florida game goes. Take it in a vacuum. So that's why I think he would have to do that again against a Georgia,
a legitimate SEC defense.
Right. In order to play his way into the Heisman conversation. I don't think he's anywhere near the top.
Well, and I think the opportunities for him to do that are going to be too late.
Correct.
For him to make up the ground in the Heisman
race. Yeah,
because he's going to have to make
they don't
up.
play anybody between now and the SEC championship game of any consequence. I think they have Mississippi State, Chattanooga, and Auburn. Okay. And then
Heisman's aren't one against them.
Imagine if Georgia loses to Ole Miss and then to Tennessee, and either Tennessee or Missouri is in Atlanta. Then what?
Yeah,
it just doesn't. I don't think it's near the top 5 at this point. But I mean, people are talking. I just don't think they're talking very intelligently.
CoachesHotSeat.com has Jimbo at number 3. Napier at number 6.
That's on fire.
Pittman at number 5.
Yeah, Sam Pittman's up there. He just beat Billy Napier though. So
in Gainesville.
Yeah, it was. So there you go.
Dave Aranda at 8. Guy I went to high school with is a Baylor graduate, and I saw something on his Facebook earlier today, and it was not complimentary.
If you can't compete in this Big 12, you got problems. But they're 2 years removed from a Big 12 championship game appearance? Mm-hmm. Let's calm down.
You're Baylor.
And let's calm down for just a second.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of breaks, let's take one because Jerry McCormick on the other side with his daily Titans report right after this.
He shoots and he scores!
Since 1975, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has treated the orthopedic needs of Middle Tennessee residents. The trained physicians provide surgical options and minimally invasive options to treat all orthopedic needs. The walk-in clinic, OrthoQuick, helps you bypass the ER while treating sports injuries and acute needs Monday through Saturday. Visit MTBJ online at mtbj.net or on social media at Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint Clinic. Update with Terry McCormick here on Main Street Sports today. Terry?
How you doing, guys? It is your Zen Sports Titans report coming to you daily and brought to you by Zen Sports. Guys, just to put a good old country saying to the term, Titans offensive line situation seems to just get worser and worser. With a report out that Nicholas Petit-Ferrer is going to need surgery on his shoulder, and that's something that's going to put him out for an extended period of time, perhaps the rest of the season. So he had come in, had played the left tackle spot until Chris Hubbard got hurt with a concussion, and he moved back to right tackle. Now he's out, and Hubbard supposedly is close to coming back. So the musical chairs continues on that offensive line, which saw 4 different guys go out at various times in the game Thursday night in Pittsburgh. I'm told that Daniel Brunskill is, banged up as well, but He's planning on playing through his injuries, but it still doesn't solve the left tackle spot where they may be forced to go back with Andre Dillard unless they decide they want to try Dylan Radins or, heaven forbid, move Peter Skoronski, who was an All-American left tackle in college, out to the left tackle.
Terry, I am convinced that either Nissan Stadium or St. Thomas Sports Park, I'm not sure which, is built on an Indian burial ground, unbeknownst to anyone.
May possibly be. You know, St. Thomas Sports Park actually was built on a former landfill. So there you have it.
There you have it. Yeah.
Trash. Yeah.
But, you know, this offensive line situation, I mean, that everything starts right there. You know, I mean, excuse me. That's where, you know, Ryan Tannehill got hurt. Now you're putting Will Levis out there. If you're going forward with him, which everybody kind of believes that they should, are you going to be able to protect him and keep him upright? Because if he's your future franchise quarterback, you certainly don't want him getting out there thrown to the wolves and putting himself in harm's way behind this makeshift offensive line that really has not gotten a lot better since the start of the season. I think everybody knew, or just from watching practice and training camp, that this could be a problem. When guys like and you guys, you see how average the defense has turned out to be with the pass rush. Guys like Arden Key and Harold Landry and all were winning almost every rep against those offensive tackles in camp. So you could kind of see it on the horizon, bubbling up to be a problem area for the Titans, and it certainly has become that.
Don't you have to be concerned, Terry, with the state of the offensive line as you are making this decision on Will Levis? I mean, David Carr is real.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be. You don't want to get the guy shell-shocked. You don't want to get him in a situation where he becomes gun-shy. Right now,
You don't
he's
want him to
staring down the gun barrel and letting it rip. And part of the reason the offense has improved, guys, is this. Will Levis has such a strong arm, he's able to throw without his feet being completely set. He can make an off-balance throw off of his back foot and still put it on target a good part of the time. Whereas Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis don't have nearly as strong an arm. They have to be able to step into throws and push off and get that type of force behind the throw in order to get it there with some juice. And this offensive line is just not capable of giving them that time consistently. So the one thing that Will Levis has, that arm strength and that ability to throw without his feet being set. Now, granted, that can lead to bad habits too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you put this guy out there because he currently gives you the best chance to win, or do you try to protect him until you can get better weapons to protect him coming next season? But I think the need for the playing experience outweighs the risk of having him shell-shocked, because confidence-wise, he doesn't seem to be that type of guy. If you start to see it coming, then maybe you pull back the reins. But, this offensive line that's priority number one. It has to get fixed. I mean, the left tackle situation is a complete mess. Think about it. When this team first got here, Brad Hopkins was at left tackle. He was in the middle of his career, and he played 6 or 7 years as a Titan after having been an Oiler for about that long. Then Michael Roos came in, manned the position very well, and then when Roos was at the end of his career, that's when they drafted Taylor Lewan, and he took over the position, played it for 9 years. But now they did not draft a competent replacement for Taylor Lewan, and look where they are.
Look where they are. Terry, it's not a great place to look at. So we're going to just ask you to tell us about Zen Sports.
Gladly. Certainly better news with Zen Sports. Nashville, you've been hearing me talk about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app exclusively in Tennessee the last few months, and I'm excited to share some big news. Now, when you sign up for a Zen Sports account, you will receive $1,000, no danger first wager. That's right. When you place your first bet in Zen Sports, you can be reimbursed for the amount of your first bet up to $1,000 maximum if the bet loses. And there's even more good news. Zen Sports is rolling out its brand new VIP rewards program. The new VIP rewards program will allow top-tier customers to earn more bonuses, comps, and perks. The VIP program is by invite only, so if you feel your Zen Sports play qualifies for VIP consideration, please check out the program details and apply at zensports.com/VIP. No other sportsbook will offer you a premier sports betting experience with a 24/7 top-tier customer support and faster withdrawals like Zen Sports. So what are you waiting for? Get going and download their app at zensports.com today. Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and older and in Tennessee to bet.
Smiles. These are the healthy smiles of real Delta Dental members. Folks with access to the nation's largest network of dentists and low-deductible plans with 100% preventive care coverage, all backed by over 65 years of expertise. Go online or give us a call to learn about affordable individual plans that meet your needs. 1-855-844-0445.
It's the biggest racing show of the year, Friday through Sunday, November 3rd through 5th at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. 6 fast-paced divisions of racing on the quarter mile Friday night, pole qualifying and 3 big feature events Saturday night, and the Curb Records Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers All-American 400 on Sunday afternoon. Racing starts at 6:30 Friday, 5 o'clock Saturday, and 1 o'clock Sunday. Tickets available at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.racing or at the gate on race day. It's the 39th All-American 400 weekend, Friday through Sunday, November 3rd through 5th. Get your tickets now.
Back now here in the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Maurice Patton, and we are now talking a little bit about the Memphis Grizzlies, as we have with us the Daily Memphians, Drew Hill, joining us. Drew, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing well, man. Appreciate you taking some time with us today. Congratulations to the Grizzlies finally picking up their first win of the season over the weekend in the second game of a 2-game set with Portland. And obviously, Drew, you knew it was going to be tough sledding for this team early on when they weren't going to have Ja Morant for the first 25 games. But then you learn right at the season's onset that you're not going to have Steven Adams either. And so they're kind of forced to retool on the fly, and the result of that has kind of been 1-7. What have you seen out of this team to this point that, you know, makes you feel like maybe this win was the beginning of a turnaround, or have you seen anything that makes you think that?
I mean, I'm not sure. I think it's really easy to get kind of caught up in the way that this team has performed each of the last 2 years. Finishing second in the Western Conference, winning 50-plus games. And then looking at the current roster now, this is just not the same team. It's not the same team. You had seasoned veteran role players, whether that be DeAnthony Melton or Kyle Anderson or Tyus Jones on those other teams. You can't keep all of those players. I think Zach Kleiman did what he felt was best. They gave Brandon Clark an extension. They gave Steven Adams an extension. Those are the 2 guys that end up getting hurt, and now they're done for the season, in addition to Ja's 25-game suspension. And you're trying to make the most of a very bad situation for the most part. If there's good news, it's that Desmond Bane has been incredible. He's looked great in every game. Jaren Jackson's been very good still. He's looked terrific and played amazing defense last night again. You do have a little bit more depth in the front court now because you got Santi Aldama back. And it's wild to think about it, but it's true. Like, the Grizzlies desperately needed Santi Aldama to come back from an ankle injury to help them in the beginning of the season. You would have never said that last year. You would have never believed that had I tried to had that been sort of a narrative. And then you add Bismack Biyombo. Yeah, they won last night. It took a 12-point comeback in the fourth quarter to do it. They showed some resolve. They had a little bit of momentum. Maybe that carries you, but the truth is, just look at the roster. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough sledding until they get Ja Morant back after game 25.
Does Ja Morant fix it?
Not everything, but I think he fixes some of your biggest problems, if not your biggest problem. The biggest problem for the Memphis Grizzlies so far this season has been when Desmond Bane comes out of the game, the momentum, just whatever the team has looked like over the last 10 minutes, you can throw it out the window because they look lost. They have not looked comfortable. They're playing a lot of young players that aren't difference makers yet in their career. They're trying to space out minutes between Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart, which I think is smart, but Marcus is still kind of trying to find his footing in Memphis. So that makes things a challenge. And Marcus is such an aggressive player that, you have to take some turnovers with the way that he plays, but it's really hard when he doesn't have steady pieces around him. It makes it, I think, a lot more difficult on him. So there's a lot of problems there. And the bench production has been really poor. Before last night when they scored 31 points, I think they had 13 points against Utah off the bench, and then they had something like 9 points when Taylor Jenkins pulled the starters against Utah, and then like 13 points in that first game against Portland. Like the bench has been a mess. Well, now you have two creators. You have Desmond Bane and Ja Morant. You space their minutes no matter who's on the floor with them. You always have one guy that you can give the ball and let him go get a shot. I think that makes a huge difference for the Grizzlies. Is Ja going to fix the fact that they're giving up a ton of offensive rebounds? No. Is Ja going to fix the fact that some of these bench players that the Grizzlies are having to run out there because of injuries don't always look comfortable or are still young or maybe just aren't the same level of role players as some of the veterans they've had in the past? No, Ja's not going to fix that either. So this team's going to have problems. But I think he can fix their biggest problem, which is they can't put a lineup out there for a full 48 minutes where you have one guy on the floor that can go get you a bucket. And they can fix that when they have Ja and Dez both available.
Yeah, obviously in this world of the NBA, you don't necessarily have to have a 5, but you've got to have somebody who can get in there and mix it up. And that's what, Jaren Jackson's been giving you to this point. But that being said, this team is in a really precarious situation because do you essentially just feel like punting this year is the way to go, or does it, or do you reassess that at game 25 or 26? I guess.
I think you assess it at game 26. But I say punting this year is pretty much a bad choice, no matter what. You have a 3-year window right now where you have Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all signed, and they will all be together. I think we are a little guilty, just as sports fans and sports media, of looking at teams and thinking towards the future and going, wow, look at that young core. Like this team is undoubtedly, they have a championship in their future. When, as we've seen in sports and particularly the NBA, which is such a star-driven league, you just don't know what can happen to some of these teams. These teams cycle in and out of being contenders to rebuilding all the time. You see it happen all the time. I mean, look at what happened with Houston most recently, So I think that you can't take this for granted. And I would be a little surprised if they didn't try to make a move to better set themselves up for the future at some point this season. Now, I don't think that you're going to see that happen now. I think when you look at the way that most of these contracts are structured, like, Bismack Biyombo who they signed to a deal worth $1 million, but can be worth up to $5 million. That was intentional, right? They signed him to that contract. They could have paid him the veteran minimum, and he didn't have another job, so he would have taken it, right? But they didn't, because they know, okay, if we set it up this way, then come February 1st, as we get closer to the trade deadline, now we have another trade, a contract that we can get rid of, that we can use to get a player of significance back. This team has positioned itself to make a move. They've positioned themselves. They got Dylan Brooks to do the sign and trade. They got a $7 million trade exception. They signed Bismack Biyombo to a contract where he's, a tradable piece. They've positioned themselves to try to make a run. And I think punting, when you only have a 3-year window that you're completely guaranteed, is just a bad idea in general. Maybe that's somebody that, obviously when the Grizzlies are successful, I'm more successful. More people read, more people care about the team, right? If you've ever been in my shoes, you would understand. You don't want to cover an 0-17. Thank goodness they're 1-6. But I don't think that punting on a season when you have 3 superstars is ever a good idea. That was a long way of getting to that, but that's how I feel.
Well, Biyombo and Jaren Jackson on the floor last night created some issues offensively for Portland. And if that can continue, obviously the name of the game is scoring points, but the more stops you get, the fewer points you have to score. So, obviously, trying to find a way to make defense your specialty is perhaps a recipe for success until Ja gets back.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree. This is a team that's been very good defensively each of the last 2 seasons. But they've also followed a trend of, they start the season slow defensively. They're outside of that top 5 mix. Steven Adams is obviously a big part of this defense, so losing him is a bit of a blow. But they've gotten better every single year defensively as the games have sort of gone along. I would expect a little bit of the same this year. And they're trying to implement a new offensive system. They have a new assistant coach, Patrick St. Andrews, who's kind of putting that in place now. So they're a little out of sync. And I also think that, some of the rebounding problems are complicating defense and offense, frankly, because you have more players that need to crash the glass because you don't have bodies of significant size that you can run out there because you just have too many injuries right now. And that plays a big impact. But individually, they have very good defensive players. Marcus Smart individually is a very good defensive player. Jaren Jackson individually might be the best defensive player in the entire NBA. And Bismack Biyombo has a history of being a good defensive player. They really like what Zaire Williams does off the ball. They have talent, especially on that side of the floor. They have to find a way to sort of bring those guys together and make it work as a unit. But I have a lot of faith, actually, that that's going to happen because we've seen it happen each of the last 3 years.
I guess the most concerning thing is that Portland is probably going to end up being the worst team in the league, and you just lost one of those games and needed a 24-2 run to win. So I don't know. But that being said, you just kind of have to take the momentum and go into the next game and try to, now that they've got that first win, try to build on it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if this is a momentum swing for this team, but I'm not certain that this is how it's going to work out. I mean, this is a team that's very young with a lot of players that are capable but haven't shown much yet. If this is the win that gets them over the hump, maybe I'll be a little bit surprised, but I think there's more opportunities coming up, particularly Wednesday against Miami.
Should be fun. Drew Hill of the Daily Memphian. Follow him at DrewHill_DM here on Twitter. Drew, again, it's good. It's been a tough 7 games. Probably going to be another tough, 18 to go. But that being said, look forward to kind of seeing what they're what the Grizzlies are able to do and reading the Daily Memphian in that time frame. And we appreciate you taking some time with us today, man.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, you guys need something Grizzlies in your backdrop here. I'm not seeing any.
We
do.
We
You're
don't
right.
have anything right now.
Yeah.
And
we might have to send something out to Nashville.
We're gonna have to.
Hey, come on with it. Yeah, tell my mic check to drop something in the mail for us.
Okay. Mike Wallace, just
I'll let him know. And I see the Alabama helmet down there. You guys know I'm an Alabama grad. We had a big win this weekend, so roll tide.
Well, congrats to you guys for making the Final Four in the playoffs. So.
Oh, I don't know about that quite
yet.
Yeah,
just wait. It's coming.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, we are going to take a break. NFL reactions. We'll circle back from Terry back to the NFL and talk a little bit about CJ Stroud, and we'll talk a little bit about Josh Dobbs and the Ravens and the Dolphins and much, much more. So stick around right after this on Main Street Sports Today. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Time now to do a little reacting to the weekend of the National Football League. And Justin mentioned him earlier, Josh Dobbs with the performance of the weekend. I feel like, if for nothing else, just the absurd situation that he was in, to be able to, to kind of take that team and put them on his back as he has done in so many times elsewhere.
And he put him on his back and rallied himself, because early on, as you might expect from a guy who wasn't expected to play, he struggled. And I think he lost a fumble. I don't think he threw an interception, but I mean, he had some stuff not go his way early on in that ball game after he came in for Jaron Hall. And, you know, I just thought it was great just for the fact that he was in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in his hometown, basically getting done what he was getting done yesterday. I thought that was really cool. But
yeah, Josh played really well at times. He did struggle, but I mean, you expect that from a guy who, you know, is having to process so much information. That being said, I'm not sure there's another quarterback more capable of processing information, you know, the way that Josh Dobbs can. He's a rocket scientist, for goodness sake.
I mean, you go to his Twitter account and it says certified rocket scientist.
Well, I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. That's unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah. So he was traded Tuesday at the deadline by the Cardinals. And I guess with Kirk Cousins going out with that Achilles, the Vikings looked around the league, and I had thought on Monday night that Jameis Winston was going to be the guy from the reactions and the conjecture on Twitter. Apparently Jacoby Brissett was a possibility as well, but it was ultimately Dobbs that they traded for, and this is his 5th team in 2 years. Crazy.
It really doesn't seem like it, but yeah, I mean, Steelers, Browns, Titans, Cardinals, and now Vikings. Man, great job.
Excuse me. There's a tweet that says he didn't even know some of his teammates' full names today. He said that's for next week.
Didn't need to. As long as they're wearing a white jersey, we're good. That's my guy. I throw to him.
Yep.
Or I just run it.
Did a lot of that too.
Did a lot of that. And it worked out really well.
Just making plays, man.
Make plays. Speaking of making plays, CJ Stroud, as I mentioned earlier, made some plays. Just a fantastic outing, leading most folks' boards for Rookie of the Year. He's had some ups and downs, but his ups have been really up. And his downs have just been kind of so-so. They've not been like just horrible. Now, obviously, they lost to Carolina last week, but that's not, you can't put everything on the quarterback. And so, you know, CJ Stroud showing why the Titans tried to trade up to get him, showing why everybody, you know, kind of felt like he was QB1. And that being said, Bryce Young was QB1. And if you put the two together, it's not even close in production for this year.
Well, and they were playing Texans were playing Tampa Bay yesterday. They played each other last week, right?
Bryce did win. But, I mean, numbers-wise, when you look at the two, it's not even close. CJ Stroud is easily, you know, better on paper right now. So, got to be impressed with him and scared if you're a Titans fan. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, it's going to be a great quarterback division here in the next couple of years, I got a feeling. So long as the Titans can shore up around them. Same thing with the difference between CJ Stroud and Will Levis right now is that Shaq Mason and Laramie Tunsil are blocking his backside.
Yeah.
And
Shaq Mason would have looked really good in two-tone blue.
Well, and maybe, well, if that's the case, we probably don't draft Skoronski, but it'd be nice to play the All-American left tackle.
At left
At
tackle?
left tackle. Someone said to me on Twitter that clearly the coaching staff has seen what they're going to see out of Skoronski in practice, and so they don't feel comfortable putting him there. I said, well, forgive me if I don't trust this coaching staff's offensive line talent evaluation. I'm sorry. You've not been Dylan Ravens.
You could have omitted offensive line.
Well, I mean, I feel like they know where their talent is. It's either hurt, But I mean, you're telling me that Dylan Ravens, who every time he comes into the game is better than whoever he replaced, can't play left tackle for you? And if he can't, Peter Skoronski, who dominated the Big Ten at left tackle, can't play left tackle in the NFL. Come on. And here's the thing: prove it. Prove it.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you got to lose?
As long as you're grasping at straws anyway, why not grasp at the All-American left tackle?
Are we that worried about the guard position?
How much worse can he be?
How much worse can he be?
And don't tell me about short arms.
It's the last thing on the list of things I'm worried about.
I mean, unless he's out there like this.
Yeah, unless he's T-Rexing.
Yeah.
Then, I feel like he can extend his arms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, perhaps his feet are good enough he doesn't need to extend his arms. Prove it. That's all I'm asking. But anyway, the Ravens coming for that number one spot looked really good. The Titans' loss to the Ravens right now looks a lot better today than it did
at the time
2-3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Ravens are looking like they may actually be in the running for the number one seed. Obviously, the AFC is a little, dicey, obviously, with the Chiefs up there. But I mean, 7-2.
I mean, if it's not the Ravens,
it's the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Ravens and Chiefs, and then who? That's it. Yeah.
I mean, the Dolphins at 6-3, but they're 0-3 against teams with winning records. They're 6-0 against teams with losing records, 0-3 against teams with winning records.
Which, I mean, there's something to be said for being 6-0 against teams with losing records, because at least you're beating the people you're supposed to.
And
not everybody does it.
And all 3 losses are on the road. So there's that. And they're going to win their division because the Jets, Bills, and Patriots all suck.
Patriots lost again yesterday, didn't they?
Patriots lost again yesterday. Bills lost last night. The Jets, what do they play tonight? I think the Jets
do they?
They're on a 3-game win streak, though. They started out 1-3. Now they're 4-3. I didn't put it on the rundown. That's my bad.
That is your bad. Yes. Chargers, Jets.
So
7:15 ABC/ESPN.
The 3-4 Chargers and the 4-3 Jets. Just sign me up.
Yeah.
This was definitely supposed to be Justin Herbert versus Aaron Rodgers, and that's not what we got. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens are going to win their division going away. The Steelers, Browns, and Bengals are really good, but
all 4 of them, I mean, they would be your 3 wild cards right now. I believe.
So. Right now, they would in fact be your 3 wild cards. So it's something, but the Ravens look really good. The Dolphins, however, again, struggle against teams with winning records. They lost 31-17 to the Dolphins. They lost 48-20 to the Bills. And and then, of course, the Chiefs lost yesterday 21-14. It's not great. Did you see my tweet about the Eagles?
I don't know that I did.
The The Eagles defense is basically Georgia's front seven and Middle Tennessee State's defensive backfield. Make of that what you will. That's all I'm saying. Bulldogs, Blue Raiders.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, clearly.
Got the win last night over the Cowboys. And Kevin Byard did get initiated into that rivalry a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Got pushed off a pile, went to push the guy back, and didn't fare well.
Oh,
did not fare well.
That's unfortunate.
So, anyway, yeah, let's talk a little bit about college football. Let's take a break and come back because Justin, in your direct messages on Twitter, you will find a video. Let's try to play that when we come back, and we'll talk a little college football right after this on Main Street Sports Today. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
He's got time. 10 to the end zone. Tipped away. Did he get it? Oh, he did.
What a snag.
Touchdown. Roberts. Ball game. Martin wins it. Tipped and caught. Zoe Roberts for the win.
And depending on what happens next week, we may have a three-way tie for that conference lead.
Unbelievable.
Here comes the throw. It's tipped up.
Oh,
that clean.
Unreal. What a catch.
Man,
what a play.
What a way to lose a ball.
What a way to lose. What a way to win. I mean, that's just
irresistible.
That is a great irresistible. That is a fantastic job there by the wide receiver to stay in contact with the football.
Yeah.
And find it to win. Of course, it was 3rd and 8, so they would have had one more shot, or they may have kicked the field goal, I guess, to tie. But, man, what a way. Congrats to UT Martin as they keep their OVC title hopes alive. Other things around college football. Michigan didn't cover, but they did blow out Purdue. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I just feel like, and it's a tough thing to say, but I think most of college football will be Ohio State fans here in a few weeks.
I think it's Purdue. And they
With or
lost
without signs.
They lost their coach. They lost their quarterback from last year. They're just not a very good football team.
Mhm.
And so Michigan infinitely more talented than Purdue. I think we'll know a lot more next week on Big Noon Kickoff when Michigan and Penn State play in Beaver Stadium.
With no signs.
So we'll find out. You know, I'll be interested to see. But I don't know. I don't know how much we could learn from Michigan blowing out Purdue either way.
They play Penn State at Penn State. They play at Maryland, and then they finish up at home against Ohio State.
And Maryland is so bad right now.
And weren't they good early?
They were like 4 or 5-0.
That's what I thought.
At one point. And they have not won since. They were undefeated, and then once they lost, they have not won. So that's wild.
I hate that for Mike Loxley.
Yeah, and for Talia Tagovailoa.
Who was it that they lost? Was it Ohio State that they lost to? Was that their first loss?
Yes, I think so. I think Ohio State beat them, and then they lost to like Illinois, and then they lost to Northwestern.
Penn State. They got Nebraska this week.
Well, Nebraska's 5-4. I mean, Nebraska's on the verge of a bowl, and probably got a little screwed this weekend on a couple replay miscues. So, you know, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, Nebraska's playing for a bowl game. They got a lot to be playing for in Memorial. So
they were 5-0, like you said. They beat Towson, Charlotte, Virginia, beat Michigan State.
They were blowing folks out.
Beat Michigan State 31-9. Beat Indiana 44-17.
I mean, blowing folks out. It wasn't like they were beating bad teams really close. They were showing well. And then out of nowhere, Ohio State broke them.
Ohio State broke them. Yeah.
It was just
because Illinois beat them by 3 in College Park.
Yeah.
And then Northwestern by a touchdown at Northwestern. So
just nuts. But anyway, USC, as you mentioned earlier, has made a coaching change in their defensive coaches room.
The coordinator.
Alex Grinch has been relieved of his duties. Did he come over with Riley?
I assume
I think
so.
he did. I think he came over with Riley from Oklahoma. Coach O-Town, right? I mean, if you're looking for a defensive coordinator,
well, I mean,
darn good.
And he did a pretty good job when he was at Southern Cal.
I'm just saying, Coach.
Of course, I mean, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I might be careful bringing Coach O back to USC.
Might be looking for a job himself.
Well, and maybe they don't miss twice. Because they probably should have hired him the first time.
I think they should have. But hey, that's who are we? What do we know? Well, USC just not very good right now. Seriously, they are struggling on defense, and now obviously against good teams. Don't get me wrong. Washington very, very good, but I mean, you're USC. You got to win those games.
Yeah.
You're getting paid, Lincoln Riley, to win those games.
And this is a team that, I mean, again, they've got the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. They had high hopes in their final season in the Pac-X. So, The Athletic has an article up speculating a potential Grinch replacements. One wild card, according to who wrote this? Bruce Feldman. One wild card. Zach Arnett, Mississippi State head coach.
Okay, so
spent almost a decade at San Diego State. 4-5 this year, uphill climb to reach bowl eligibility, and he's working for an AD who didn't hire him and who I hear could be in the market to hire his own guy.
It's a lot of buyout money to pay, but I guess they could do it. Yeah, I mean, if he gets fired, he's a great pick.
Well, and he might just decide to get out before he does get fired. I mean, if the tea leaves are reading that way. But my question is, again, as we are so fond of saying on this show, you're Mississippi State.
And it's year one after, he's trying to put in a completely different system because he wasn't an air raid guy. So everybody they've got there is air raid kids on offense. You got to give him time, right?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Jesse Minter, maybe getting out of Michigan before the getting's good. Will Muschamp, coach,
where
is it Georgia as the co-defensive coordinator? They've got he and Glenn Schulman share responsibility.
I don't know if he wants to go out west. I mean,
why not?
Texas is as far west as he's ever been, right?
Yeah, but why not?
He may not want to go out west. He may not want to go to the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's true. The Big Ten's a different animal.
Yeah,
but it's certainly a name. Great defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's a great defensive coordinator. Head coach, not so much.
Here's the thing:
great defensive coordinator.
I would take Will Muschamp in Knoxville if he wasn't Will Muschamp. You give me a guy who's done everything that he's done,
but isn't him. What you get against Coach Boone? Come on now.
The fact that we could not beat him no matter what.
Well, so now you don't have to worry about beating him because he's coaching for you.
No. See, that's the Dan Uggla effect.
Now, I know you're not getting ready to slander Dan Uggla in his hometown.
Listen, man, I've said it 100 times. It is what it is. Braves killer out of the program. Braves killer in the program. I'm just saying.
We'll always have the 36-game hitting streak.
Well,
33, I think it was.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
But, and still didn't hit over 250. Oh, Oklahoma State takes Bedlam. Did they have some help?
I don't know. I didn't see it. What happened?
Man. Just don't, whatever you do, don't search Bedlam pass interference.
Oh, Lord.
Let's just say Oklahoma.
Did the Cowboys get by with one?
More.
Or more than one? Bedlam pass interference? Don't look that up, right?
This was Alabama level. this was don't, if something's happening, don't even pretend to reach for your flag. It
just
was
your arms, huh?
just stand and watch, and whatever happens. I mean, it was bad. But here's the thing: Oklahoma State's going to the championship game at this point.
So that 5-way tie got broken, huh?
A little bit.
What is it? Oklahoma State and Texas?
I think there's still one more. Let's see. I think it's no, it is. Yeah, it's Oklahoma State and Texas, Kansas State, and Oklahoma, all 4-2. So, where's Iowa State? Did they lose this weekend? They must have.
I think they did in the black unis, which is unfortunate.
They lost to Kansas. There you go.
Yep, Texas and Oklahoma State.
And look, I mean, Oklahoma State, that's who they want, right? That's who the Big 12 wants. And their 3 games remaining are UCF, Houston, and BYU. They're going. And like I said, a team that lost by 20-plus points to South Alabama is going to play for the Big 12 title. Wow.
That's what they want. What if Texas beats Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship?
How? How?
What do you mean how?
How? They literally just showed you they are willing to do whatever it takes for Oklahoma State to win. They just did.
Oh, so you're
Ray Charles might as well be the head official.
They can't call everything back.
Well, I guess Texas could have outscored my. But if
Yeah.
if Oklahoma
If
State
it's
willingly
close.
pass interference on every single pass and they don't throw any flags, you can't catch it if you're laying on the ground after you get tackled.
Well, I guess the commissioner set the tone from the jump, right?
From the jump. I'm just saying.
I was not thinking along those lines, and yeah.
They just proved it.
Oof.
So
Man.
I'm just saying it's what they want. I mean, and look,
Ooh.
Mike Gundy is Big 12, Mr. Big 12 through and through, and ready to kick everybody out. All this, that, and the other. He's their guy.
Mm.
And
Wow.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. It took me a minute to get there.
So anyway, yeah, Big 12 is a little crazy. Clemson upsets Notre Dame like we all expected, right? I guess Clemson's going to go bowling after all.
What are they? 5 and
Now,
5 and 4
they're 5
now?
and 4 now. They may be the Weed Eater Bowl, but yes,
Who they got left?
Who does Clemson have? Well, they got South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, a 18-point underdog to open at Clemson. And that's silly, right?
Well, especially the way they've been playing here.
Yeah.
Late. I mean, I know it's North Carolina and Virginia, but still, it was at North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was at Virginia. Now, Virginia's not very good.
But they beat them 45-17. Now, I mean, there are some teams that have struggled with Virginia. I'm just saying.
18 points.
18 points is a little silly. But whatever. I mean, Georgia Tech's 4-2 in the ACC. Like they're a Louisville loss away from potentially playing for an ACC title.
But at this point, Clemson only has to win one game out of that 3 to get bowl eligible.
Right. Now, again, at South Carolina, who knows? Maybe that game ends up being.
Where's that North Carolina game?
The Georgia Tech and North Carolina are both at Clemson. So
I mean, you feel like they win one of those.
Probably.
At least.
Maybe
both.
Here's the thing. North Carolina has only struggled. Oh, no. Georgia Tech was at Georgia Tech. Okay.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I was going to say North Carolina's struggles have been at home, but they did lose to Georgia Tech on the road. I don't know, but I didn't expect Clemson to beat Notre Dame. I certainly didn't expect them to, Notre Dame kind of had to come back. It was 24-9 at the half. And, Sam Hartman just, I guess he thought he was at Wake Forest again. Tough beat for Notre Dame, who now is ranked behind James Madison in the AP poll, I think. So
poll is out, isn't it?
The poll is out.
The poll no longer matters because we got the
we got the college football poll, but yeah, USC out of the top 25 for the first time in a long time. Georgia still at 1. Tennessee up to 14.
Beating UConn by 56 will do that.
Do we think that Tennessee would beat Oregon State and Utah on a neutral field? Here's the thing. Tennessee's ranked ahead of Missouri, and for what reason, I can't tell you. I think Tennessee, Oklahoma State, and Missouri would all 3 beat 11th ranked Louisville, 12th ranked Oregon State, and 13th ranked Utah on a neutral field. You could take those 3, flip them, and you'd be better off. I mean, Oklahoma lost to Oklahoma State. LSU lost to Alabama. And Kansas wins, but is ranked behind Oklahoma, who they beat. This is why I can't get behind this. It's so frustrating. But anyway, maybe we could talk more about it tomorrow.
I guess we'll have to talk more about it tomorrow since we are
college football playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about what we think the rankings are going to look like. We'll talk with Blake Lovell to hear about what he said at Southeastern 14, what he thought about opening night of college basketball, all of that and much more. So,
we'll also have Chip tomorrow, right?
I hope so.
That's right, because we didn't have him last week.
We'll have to ask.
Yeah.
Hopefully Chip Walters as well. So you guys come back with us at 2 o'clock tomorrow on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Have a great one.